after the first quarter, the first time. That's what they do. I mean, it's like it's a great opening script for them.
Thanks everybody for coming. A reminder, please pick up all the handouts. Also, I did want to mention that former player Matt Stinchcomb is going to be recognized at the game Saturday for his induction into the College Football Hall of Fame coming up in December. And the dog walk is 4:45, and no live streaming, please.
I'd like to also congratulate Matt, who was a close friend, still is a close friend, and played together with Matt here. And what a great honor bestowed to him, and certainly deserves it. Having a bright career with the SEC Network, and what a great honor it is to have him represent the University of Georgia and Hall of Fame. So appreciate that and honor to him. Open up. We're moving on to Auburn, who we've got tremendous respect for. Gus does a great job with their program. Obviously, it's the first time in a long time, probably ever, that we played them 3 times in what really amounts to a calendar year. And these guys got a good football team. When you look at them defensively, they're loaded up front. They've got a lot of big guys. They've got a lot of players who play a lot of snaps. I mean, their experience across the board on their defensive unit, it seems like every guy has been there for 3 years and played a significant role. And then offensively, I think every time you play one of Justin's offenses, it's time-consuming, it's frustrating. He does a lot of misdirections. They come right at you and hit you in the mouth like they did last year. They've got really good skill players to take shots with, and they do a great job on special teams. Always have. So it'll be a tremendous challenge for our guys as they move on from the Kentucky game into this game. And I know our players and our coaches have a lot of respect for the way Auburn plays the game. So I'll open it up with a couple of the injury stuff. Miko, I think he'll be fine. He got an ankle, probably could be coming back in the game. He should be fine today to practice. Lamont had a hyperextension. He's going to be limited today, but we think he'll be fine. This guy progresses the next couple of days. Ben continues to progress. Thought he could have played if he had to in the last game. So we hope he continues to get better. I think that's all of them. If not, I'm sure you guys will ask.
Kirby, I guess due to the uniqueness that you touched on, I mean, normally y'all would be trying to avenge a loss to Auburn, but you did that a month later last year. Is there still motivation from last November's game, or how do you kind of move that, or do you even need motivation in a series that's been this close after 120-something meetings?
Yeah, it's a rivalry game. I mean, it's, so many of our kids recruited by them, and so many vice versa. It's always a rivalry game, and I think that a big part of that is being at your best when your best is needed, and that's the challenge for our guys. We're playing at home at night in our stadium, which I think is really important to our fans, important to our players, to protect our home turf, and we want to put our best effort forward, and certainly going to have to with the challenge they present, because they've got a lot of good football players.
Coach, I've seen you mad before. I don't think I've seen you any madder than you were Saturday night when you guys were failed to get in on first and goal again. I know that's something you guys are trying to address, and you'll really need to address against this team. Is what's your conclusions to this point that you're seeing there? That the physical toughness is not there, or is it play calling? What do you?
I really don't think it's that. I think we worked really hard on it last week, and that's probably the most frustrating thing is that we didn't overcome the obstacles we had previously, and it has nothing to really do with play calling. And it's not the maddest I've ever been. I was more disappointed in some of the organizational things, not necessarily what we did. It's the way we went about it, and we'll continue to work on it and get better at it.
Kirby, I don't know what was the extent of the celebration for winning the East, and how much will you get into the team about not looking at that other team in Alabama?
Yeah, that's not a case for us. I mean, obviously the locker room, guys are fired up, guys are excited. I mean, I think anytime you play another top 10 team and you have a big win, it's something to get excited about. These guys worked really hard for a long time, so to be able to enjoy that moment, that big game for the trip home, and then Sunday we move on, and it's on to Auburn, who's got a really good football team. They get your attention the minute you turn the tape on, because they've got an experienced quarterback who's got an elite arm, They've got a lot of really good wideouts. They're talented, fast, extremely fast, and they've got a defense that's been there forever. So, I mean, there's not anybody on our team that's going to be worrying about anything but Auburn, because that's the next task at hand. I mean, that's what we have to be focused on. Our goal is to play the next team, whoever the next team is, and we don't try to have too real big highs and no real lows. We want to stay right neutral in the middle.
Along those same lines, does the experience last year of clinching the East about the same time, and I know there were other important games right ahead on the schedule to help with these teams, the guys that have been through that?
Yeah, I don't know if that helps. I think the focus, what helps is playing well, and your play is reflected by your behaviors, which are your actions in practice, and it all boils back down to that. I mean, we can make it psychological all we want, but at the end of the day, it's how do you work during the week? What are your behaviors in practice, and your behaviors lead to playing better, and that's what we're trying to do right now, is play better.
Kirby, since the bye week, it seems like you guys climbed back a little bit more, what you did well last year, in terms of running the ball. So what was maybe said, what did you guys do on that bye week to kind of refocus and play well these last 2 games?
We just worked. I mean, we just worked on things we weren't doing well, and that was a big part of it. I mean, I didn't think we were running the ball well before that either. I mean, we had some success before that, and we had to improve. We've had a lot of young players that are trying to grow up, and they still need to grow up. And we got some guys out there that have played a lot of football, but they have to continue to play better. But there was no magic potion. The off week, we just worked. We tried to work on points of emphasis for each unit.
Coach, I know that things can change based on the flow of the game, but after Saturday, you were talking about Justin Fields and the plays that he made in the running game. I mean, do you feel like there's a little bit more of a familiarity and more of like a sense of, with Jake being the main guy, but being able to bring Justin in for that running ability? Do you feel like there's more of a rhythm between the two now, or no?
I think that Justin doesn't have to come in just to run the ball. Justin's a talented quarterback. He's growing as a player. He's getting better. The more roles we give him to benefit our team, I think it helps us. He's also 230 pounds too, so he presents a lot of issues for a defensive unit. And I know that from having to coach against guys like Justin, but he's a talented player that doesn't just have to come in the game and run the ball. And I think he and Jake work well together and continue to do that, and we'll use both of them where we see it beneficial.
I know that the line situation had to be frustrating with the guys going down, but Isaiah's kind of been a steady guy there on the right side. In his first year, how have y'all evaluated the job he's done so far?
He's growing. He's getting better. I thought last year he got frustrated early and just kept working. Spent some time on the scout team, got better. He still is a work in progress, just like our team is. I mean, there's things that he didn't do right Saturday. He plays physical. He's a big man. He's worked hard to get better. He's held up against some tough guys in pass pro. I think he takes pride in that. But he'd be the first to tell you that he didn't do some things right Saturday in the run game that he's got to improve on. And he's going to play against some really good front guys this week. And when you don't step with the right foot, you don't take the right angle, you don't approach things the right way, these guys can expose you. So he'll keep working, and hopefully he'll keep getting better.
Kind of sticking with the running game, I was wondering, I remember you spoke after the Middle Tennessee State game about Elijah Holyfield, but just since then, kind of what's allowed him to mature as a runner throughout the season?
Probably carries. I mean, to be honest with you, he's always been mature. He's a very mature kid that he worked his tail off when nobody knew him because of the feature backs we had, and we all knew what a workhorse horse he was. He came down to the scout team and got to see him do it against a really good defense last year. So opportunity is probably what's presented itself to him.
Kirby, with Holloman and just the amount of times he's been targeted the last couple of games, and he had that really nice block on Edwards and sprung Swift on the touchdown, is he, I don't know, maybe exceeding what you thought he could be? Because obviously he's got a really prominent role here down the stretch.
He works. I've said it before, he works really hard. He blocks really physical. Everything's important to him, all the details. He's on a punt return unit that's one of the better ones in the country. He takes pride in that. He's a backup on kickoff coverage, backup on punt team. He just works. So the guys that work, play physical, and catch the ball when they get the opportunity, he's taking advantage of some opportunities he's been presented in the Florida game. He took advantage of the opportunities he got last week, but he's not the only one in that room. I mean, there's a group of young men in that room that do a great job for our run game, for our special teams, and then when we get an opportunity to throw it, they're able to take advantage of it.
Coach, if you could update Cade Mays and also comment on the young players that contributed at Kentucky.
Yeah, Cade had a little bit of a stinger. He's probably gonna be limited today, and we don't know how much further it'll go, but we expect to get him back. And I know he's a tough kid. He'll push through it, but medically, Ron and them are gonna keep him out of some contact today. But again, he's tough, competitive, a lot like the rest of our freshman class. He's working really hard, and those guys, as a unit, are getting better. It's not just the freshmen. I say freshmen, I'm talking about redshirt freshmen, but all those guys. So don't think of it as last year's signing class. Look at it as a 2-year span of guys that haven't had significant roles. I think those guys are growing up, getting better. I said it after the game last week. Some guys got in the game that hadn't been getting in the game because we got to use them. They've got some attributes that we need, and I'm pleased with those guys' growth. I just hope that maturity allows them to handle whether it's a little success in the case of Channing or Adam or Brenton, or a little frustration in the case of somebody that's not playing as much as they want to. They just got to keep getting better.
Coach, it's hard not to notice what Todd Gurley and Nick and Sonny are doing in the NFL right now. You've got Swift and Holyfield on your team right now. You've also recruited against Georgia in that regard. Can you just talk about what having that kind of legacy and what kind of value that is when you're going out recruiting running back, and obviously you guys are committed to running the football?
Yeah, I think that's it helps tremendously to have the guys, even the history of the Robert Edwards, Garrison Hurst, Terrell Davis. I mean, Hurst, they're just the back after back after back after back, and now it's probably more prominent than it's ever been because of the stage that Todd's on and what he's been able to do with it. And Nick and Sony's exposure last year through the national championship game, I think that, if you're a premier back in the country and you say, I want to go somewhere that I can learn to play in a pro style, catch the ball in the backfield, I also want to be able to protect so that I can increase my value, and also want to have durability where I'm not going to be beat up when I come out of there, nowhere better to go. So these guys recognize that, and that's why Dale's been able to recruit at a high level.
Kirby, I know there's some times where time of possession isn't the most important thing. I guess like Spurrier's fun and gun and what Bama's doing this year. But when you're playing Auburn and you're playing that fast tempo, how important, I think you had the ball for like 39 minutes you're 2 years ago over here. How important is it to win that time of possession against Auburn to keep that offense off the field, because they wind up having really quick drives if they're stopped?
I think it goes back and forth. I think it's a lot about what kind of team you are. If you've got depth defensively and you think you can withstand those drives, the most important thing becomes, can I get off the field on third down? Auburn teams have been different over the years too. I mean, they've had really fast scoring ones. They've had some long, methodical teams that go on long drives. It's a lot more important what we do than what they do, and we got to go execute regardless of what they do. They've got some up-tempo stuff, and they do a really good job of it, and you got to go out execute them. You got to go out and be able to play fast, and your kids got to get lined up. It's what everybody in college football works on now in the offseason to get ready for it.
I'll follow up on some of the young guys who are having to play right now. Over your career and history as a coach, how does that kind of stack up on the amount of kids that are having to play, that you're having to depend on right now?
I don't know statistically. I can't tell you what the most I've ever had play and what the least I've ever had play. We've got a lot of them in our 2 deep, and it's mainly because I think 8 or 9 of them came early, so that helped them get acclimated. That certainly had an effect with Cade and maybe Trey and those guys that came early. They got to get to work earlier. But I can't tell you. I just know these guys are working hard, and you want to bring good players in your program, but it's not just getting them here, it's getting them bought into the principles and values and doing what the seniors want and buying in, and then also learning and dealing with the frustration of being away from home. this group is starting to overcome a lot of that and get better as they get more and more experience.
Coach, another one about a specific young player, Tyson Campbell. Seems like he's been getting a lot of those reps earlier than a lot of those guys. What specifically do you feel like he still needs to grow on at the position he's at right now?
Well, he's got a lot more comfort. I mean, Tyson is a benefactor of a little bit of lack of depth. He's a benefactor of playing a position that's not quite as complicated as some of the other freshmen are at, and he's talented. But he's grown up. He'll continue to grow up. When you play opposite DeAndre Baker, you're going to get a lot of attention, and he continues to get a lot of those. And he's got to continue to improve and work on a lot of things, whether it's tackling, eye control, doing his job, knowing the assignment of every play. Because out there sometimes, you get away with maybe a wrong technique because you got a guy man. You can't get away with that when you're the linebacker that's got to make the call, when you're the quarterback or the running back that's got to protect. You can't do those things, and he can, and he's been able to grow, and he's got to continue to improve it.
Two more questions?
Coach, I know you've been across the line of scrimmage, or coaching box, I guess, from Malzahn plenty of times. What has he done that's been a little bit different with his offenses? What did he bring, and I guess the rest of the SEC probably pretty much knows his offense by now, right?
Yeah, I understand what you're asking. Like this year specifically, or what are you talking?
Just over the year, what are some of the principles that Auburn's consistently done well? His offenses have looked like they've been a little
Physical, being able to run the ball. I mean, people think it's all sideways, and when they've had elite backs, they really run it well. When they've had elite quarterbacks, they really run it well. They've got more wideouts now than I remember them having as far as vertical threats and guys that can run and throw the ball down the field, and a quarterback that can get the ball to them. I've got a lot of respect for the job he does, and they've always created a lot of problems because of the tempo and because of the window dressing, and they do all that, but they still run the ball at you.
Kirby, what's been the difference for Nard the last few weeks? It seems he's gotten more opportunities in the passing game.
I really think it's just opportunity. It's just his number. It's not like we call a play and say, this play is going to Nada. I really think the 2-minute drive at Florida opened up for him, and they played some coverages that made it easy for him. I mean, it wasn't that he was out there beating somebody in coverage man to man. I mean, they didn't cover him on some, and then they played a soft zone where he got the ball, and then he did a good job the other day. He beat a guy across the face that was man to man, and I know Jake's very comfortable with those tight ends, and I think Isaac, at the end of the day, knows the offensive system better. He understands where coverages are. He knows what leverage to take, and he's taking advantage of some good opportunities.